Why is the chair so squeaky? Hi guys, this is Natalie, and I'm in my basement again. The lighting is so bad, and ignore the mess. This video is AP art, and what is AP art? My portfolio, all my pieces, and a bunch of details of what even is it, because some of you guys might be going into AP art, but some of you guys might be thinking about going into it, and this video might be your deal breaker. I've watched videos like this, like how I got a 5, how I got a perfect score, going to bed every night because I needed that perfect score. I needed that 5 to validate myself and my artwork. Don't do that. That's just a cute personality trait that I have. Don't do that. You don't need the best score. Just do your best and have fun with it. This class is supposed to be fun. Don't do that. Okay, so AP art, before I get into like my portfolio and all of that, AP art is an art class. It's a college level art class, and it has two components. It has your selective, which is 5 of your best works. It's your best skill set. It shows your skill set. It shows details. It's just works that you've made that are the best that you think you're ever gonna make, or like along those lines. That's 40% of your grade. It could be anything also. This is about AP drawing, so it can't be like a sculpture, but it could be any like medium, any like I want to make like a still life, I want to paint a person's face, anything. And then there's your 15 pieces. That is your sustained investigation, 60% of your grade. This is basically a theme. Any theme that you want to research, it's an investigation. But all those pieces have to connect by that theme, and you pick the theme, and then you pick whatever you want, any mediums, any colors, whatever, but they kind of have to match your theme. And all the pieces they don't have to look the same, but you have to look at them, you have to be like, okay, like all these fit together. The sketchbook is such a huge component of your 15 sustained investigation pieces. I'm gonna make another video talking about the sketchbook, but I just want to show examples a little bit and just talk a little bit about it if you don't want to watch the next video. But anyway, your sketchbook, it should show your ideas, your processes, your experimentation. College Board really wants to see that. They want to see how you got from point A and then your completed project point B. My theme, the title of my theme is Absorption by Daydreams. No one that I know of, and that my teachers know of, and that Google knows, had this. As far as I know, no one had this theme before. And it's a story of how we get absorbed by daydreams. How daydreams are so severe and so powerful, they take over our mental state, our motor functions, cognition, everything. Just daydreams surround us. Order your pieces on College Board. It tells a story. My thing is from, like, my order. It's from innocent daydreams to daydreams as they mature until we die. That's my story. You don't have to tell a story. You do not have to tell a story. You could order your pieces by like oil painting and then watercolor. So another thing in your sketchbook, do not write image 1 if that's the first image you painted ever. I did that, but that's not how I ordered it. So now you guys will get to see my pieces, so let's come see them. So this is my first sustained investigation piece called Innocence. You don't need titles. Actually, you don't do titles in AP art. There's no place to put titles, but I titled all of my pieces. This is a colored pencil and micron pen on a 9.2 by 9-inch piece of paper. And another thing, you'll see how all my pieces connect. They're all realism with hints of unrealistic aspects, just like daydreams. Like, we daydream, but those daydreams really do not exist. So Innocence, the story behind Innocence is that it's supposed to represent the purest form of childhood innocence and childlike play and childhood like daydreams. So the style of Innocence is inspired by my childhood favorite book, Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's just my favorite book of all time when I was a child. And even the style of this piece, it looks like it came from a children's book. The style, the way it's drawn, the colors. So even the style connects to my theme. And College Board eats that up. They love that. And I wrote that in my sketchbook. So as you can see, she is standing on a stool, on pillows and books. Like how children play, completely not safe. but she's in the corner of her room, and then her room morphs into like this enchanted forest. The blue carpet morphs into like a river, and that's like the purest form of childhood daydreams. She is the ruler of that made-up world that she conjured up in her head, and she sees it and she believes it even though it's all in her head. It's childlike play. You see it, you think it's real. That's the power of that daydream, absorbs you and everything around you. Piece number 2, this is Loneliness, aka Bubbles. If you know me, Bubbles is my worst favorite piece. This is an 11 by 14 inch oil on canvas. So in all of my pieces, the colors, the main colors represent something. They symbolize something. I did so much research to figure that out. So the blue represents dreams and hope. The yellow represents how daydreams give hope. Yellow is a color of optimism. And the red in the bubbles and the red in like the bubble blower, that represents love, and it shows how he's dreaming for some type of love. Daydreams are so powerful that we believe we aren't alone. In this piece, this boy is lonely. He has no friends. He's blowing bubbles by himself, and he's daydreaming for friends. Those friends are in those bubbles. Those bubbles also represent the fragility in daydreams. Daydreams are fragile. We daydream and we believe it's real because we're so absorbed by it. But then when we stop daydreaming, reality hits in, and nothing that we just dreamed about is happening. Just like those bubbles. Those friends are in those bubbles. But once the wind blows, the bubbles pop. His friends are gone, and he's alone again. Piece 3, this is one of my favorite pieces. It is the first AP art piece I've done. It's 40 by 30 inches. It's huge. It's called I Will Be a Princess. It took me 2 months to complete. I did it the summer before AP. And so quick, the light blue color of the child's dress, it represents imagination, the imagination behind the daydream. And the pink represents sensitivity, the sensitivity to the daydream. This shows a childhood-like stage of the daydream, and it's an unrealistic daydream. It's probably a daydream that a lot of you had. It's a daydream that I had. I will be a princess. That was like my goal when I was little. I will be a princess. And this is supposed to represent how this child's daydream is so powerful and so strong that she's seeing herself as she's older, as a princess right in front of her while she's in this portal. I'm so glad I did this portal because it ties in perfectly. It ties in the childlike thought and how the daydreams are conjured up from anywhere, and they're conjured up just like a portal. It's conjured up, and it's absorbing. As you could see, like the princess, her arm and her dress, it's blending into the portal. Child sees this princess curtsying and smiling in front of her. She thinks it's real. She thinks that will be her when she's older. And this piece is huge. It took me all summer, and it's my favorite piece. I used a palette knife to do the carpet, and I used the palette knife to do their hair and the crown. So this is my 4th piece. It is called Hello, Mr. Spaceman. It's an oil on canvas, 20 inch by 16. I did this one in 11th grade and not senior year. It's so important if you have pieces from past years that either fit into your investigation or the really detailed pieces that fit into your selective works to use them. It saves you so much time and so much stress. So the color symbolism, the blue symbolizes imagination, like daydreams, imagination, childhood imagination. The gray represents the colorless, monotonous life that exists without daydreams. The black represents like mystery and then unknown. When we daydream, we don't know if what we're daydreaming will happen or is going to happen or whatever. And the orange is the optimism that daydreams bring. This piece is supposed to represent the unrealistic dreams of childhood. Specifically, what do we want to be when we grow up? So, take for example you. Like, are you going in as a major, or are you working now as what you wanted to do when you were little? If you are, like wow, like that's so cool. Like that's like good for you. But like when I was little, I wanted to be a spy, a teacher, a baker, a nurse. There's so much I wanted to be. And now I'm going to be a full-time artist and an art therapist, which is like nowhere close to a spy. So, and a lot of kids They daydream to be stuff that they think is cool or their heroes are interesting. Person is daydreaming to become an astronaut. Something a lot of little kids daydream to be when they're little. And they're so absorbed in that thought and in that daydream. And the hand reaching out, it's supposed to symbolize them grabbing that dream and making it happen. Because what is stopping us from making it happen? Usually it's just growing up. This is the 5th piece in my sustained investigation. It's called Lost and Found. The title's amazing. I did not come up with the title. One of my friends did. I'll give her credit because so much credit deserved in the description below. This is a long piece. It's 12 inches by 24. It's modeling paste, acrylic paint, and micron pen on canvas. This piece is so compact. It's the only thing you know about is that the boy's in the forest and he's absorbed by this forest. And all I'm gonna tell you is that he's lost in his thoughts and he's trying to find himself. That's supposed to represent like the daydream absorbing him, this endless forest. So one thing about this piece is the colors. So the fox, the bears, and the boy, they're dressed in like greenish, orangish, brown tones. And those tones usually don't stick out in a forest like they stick out here because it's supposed to show how daydreams are those hints of hope. I used modeling paste and I iced the canvas like you'd ice a cupcake with modeling paste. Piece 6, it's titled What Will Be. So this is a self-portrait. It's 12 by 8.5 inches, colored pencil on paper. So before we start, the color symbolism. The browns usually associate with support, the brown color. Daydreams give us support that we need to keep going. And the green symbolizes hope. Daydreams provide us with hope. In my sketchbook, I have that she's daydreaming for the future, but it could be whatever you want, honestly. But she's happy. It's a happy daydream. Her facial emotions were so absorbed by the power of the daydream that her facial emotions, they're happy now. Like that daydream was so powerful that it changed her whole like mental state. And it took over her face, like her functions in her face. This piece was inspired by the calming effect of nature. Nature provides us with a calming effect, and so do daydreams. She's absorbed by like the grass. The grass is really big. It's a worm's eye view. College Board loves weird like views. Worm's eye, bird's eye, side. Like they love that. So keep that in mind. They love that stuff. But anyway, she's absorbed by like this grass, she's absorbed by the nature, the calming effect, and she's absorbed by the daydream. Everything all intertwines. Next piece, this is Serenity. This is a painting of one of my friends. It's gouache on paper. This is the first time I've ever painted with gouache before, and I fell in love. Oh my god, please use gouache. It's so bright, it's so colorful. Gouache is basically like a more pigmented watercolor. Anyway, so this is an 18 by 18 inch paper, and the main colors. Green symbolizes balance, and like daydreams provide us with that balance that is missing in our daily lives. Blue represents calmness, how daydreams calm us, and the pink of the lotus flower symbolize hope. Okay, this piece is so detailed with symbolism that I don't even remember all of it. So I have my sketchbook to help me cheat here. Serenity. Serenity is the girl, but it's also the title of the piece. Serenity is daydreaming for serenity. Her daydream also gives her serenity. She's daydreaming for happiness through whatever problems she is facing right now. The lily pads, which hold her up, they represent how daydreams hold our burden that we're carrying, and they help push us through it. They help us float through it. Just like how she's floating on the water, being held up by these lily pads. The little water ripples on the water, they represent like the bumps of life. Fish are a universal symbol of peace and perseverance, just like how daydreams give us that piece of perseverance. The next piece is called He Loves Me Not. It's a 36 by 36 inch oil on canvas painting. The name is inspired by the phrase, he loves me not, when you pick flowers. Anyway, this piece is huge. It took me 2 weeks to complete. And so the main colors of the piece, the yellow, it represents optimism that dreams give us, and the reddish brown symbolizes strength, which dreams provide us with. So this is another self-portrait. The girl in this piece, she's a little older. They're getting older. And in this piece, she's daydreaming for her love. She's picking the flowers. He loves me not. As you can see, her whole facial expression, it's just all like her motor functions, they're all just absorbed by this daydream. She's looking into this wishing well, like daydreaming, wishing for her love. Use the palette knife to do the mortar in the bricks. So it was basically just oil paint with a palette knife, just like, yeah. So that was just, it was like iced on to represent how like daydreams are so powerful that this piece is becoming real. Her strength in her daydream is so strong that the actual artwork is coming to life. This piece is titled My Song. It's a 28.5 inch by 15.5 inch watercolor and watercolor marker on paper. He wants to be a musician. This piece is painted with the Zorn palette. He's painted in black and white. That represents emptiness. And the yellow and the ochre, that represents hints of happiness. So his headphones are yellow, his guitar is yellow, and that's supposed to represent how music provides him with that happiness. If you look at his face is zoned out. It's completely absorbed by that daydream. He's daydreaming about becoming that musician. Music staff around him, it's supposed to show how the daydream is taking over him. It's so powerful. He's absorbed in that daydream of being a musician that the music is coming to life around him. This next piece is titled Baby. It's 7 by 5 inches watercolor on paper. So in this piece, the woman is dreaming about having a baby, but she doesn't have one yet. But the whole room is already set up as if she had one. She has the cradle, but she's gripping that cradle because she's gripping that daydream. She doesn't want to let go. She wants to make it real. She's holding on to that cradle with like all her strength because the daydream is so powerful. She's so absorbed in it that it's controlling her motor function. The next piece is called Homelessness. It is a 9.5 by 9.5 inch painting where the longest parts of it are. Because this painting, it doesn't really, it's everywhere, it's shaped differently. So the longest parts are 9.5 by 9.5. This is cardboard with oil paint, Sharpie, micron pen, and linseed oil. And the main colors on this piece, the brown symbolizes security, which the guy is missing. The white symbolizes peace that our daydreams give us. And the black symbolizes sadness. He's daydreaming about a job, but he's also daydreaming about finding security and a home, like money, something, anything along those lines. The cardboard, the fact why I painted on cardboard is it's supposed to represent how he lost everything. So, like cardboard, usually it's a big factor in like homeless communities and style city behind him because cities represent opportunities and like new jobs and all of that. So that city behind him is supposed to represent like all the opportunities that are possible. This is my next piece. It's titled Rushing. It's an 11 by 14 inch oil painting. So it's inspired by the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, the pocket watch he always carried. The black in this painting represents fear, and the fear that we have for the future that we daydream to get away from. The brown represents the comfort that daydreams provide us. The gold and the yellow and the ochre represents power that we daydream usually for, and the salmon color represents hope that daydreams give us. So when we daydream, time seems to stop. We get so absorbed by those beliefs and ideas and hopes and dreams that we're thinking about that nothing else matters. Time's frozen right where it is. That is represented by the broken pocket watch in the person's hand. It's supposed to show how time's frozen because the power of the daydream just takes over us. The spinning handles on the other pocket watch behind the hand, that's supposed to represent how usually when we daydream for the future. We're not in the moment. I painted the black handles and I smeared them using a fan brush. This is my next piece. It's called There's Nothing Behind Me. It's 14 by 11 inches oil on canvas. So the blues symbolize a clouded mind. As we daydream, our mind is absorbed and our surroundings don't matter. Sepia, that is like that brownish orange. That's the color of nostalgia and missing the past, searching for where the time has gone by, which is what this woman is daydreaming for. So as we get older, we reminisce on the past and we reminisce on stuff we didn't get to do and stuff we missed and so on and so much more. So that's where the nostalgia comes in, longing for something that only she knows what she's longing for. Just like a daydream, they're all catered specifically to us. She is so absorbed by the daydream and just completely taken control over by it. She's looking into the rearview mirror, but she's not focused on the road at all. That's supposed to symbolize how she's looking back at her past, trying to get what she was longing for. This is my second to last sustained investigation piece. It's titled Grandpa. It's an 11 by 9 inches red pen and blue pen on paper. This piece is one of my favorites, not technically, but just idea-wise. And as you can see, my portfolio now, it's maturing, and the daydreams are starting to mature, and they're getting very serious and powerful. The grandfather is daydreaming about his younger self. He's missing when he was his younger self. He's reminiscing on those times. That overlap between the little boy and the grandpa. The little boy is the grandpa's younger self. That is the grandpa as a little boy. And they're overlapping because like the little boy is supposed to be like this ghost, the spirit, this lingering thought that is in the grandpa's head. The grandpa is so absorbed by this daydream that he conjured up himself as a younger child sitting next to him. That's how powerful this daydream is. My last sustained investigation piece, it's an 11.5 by 8.2 inch pencil on paper from Observation. It's titled Where Did Time Go? Where did time go? It's supposed to represent an abandoned daydream which is lost forever. It never happened. In this specific example, it's an abandoned daydream of traveling the world. You could tell that by like the maps, the binoculars, the camera. But he never got there yet because either he ran out of time or something happened. He always had to push it back, and now old age hit him, or maybe he's not alive anymore. And this daydream's abandoned, like forever. A yellow brownish toned paper. The paper's supposed to show how like the paper's old, so the daydream's old. It's not a perfectly cut piece of paper. There's like a torn edge, which is supposed to show how like the daydream's torn. It doesn't exist anymore. It's ripped apart from the person who kept it alive. The rotting apple, the dead flower, super cluttered, the hourglass which ran out of time. That all shows how so much time has passed since this person been at this desk, like dreaming to travel the world. So this is my first Selective piece. This is a 20 by 16 inch oil on canvas. I love this piece. This is how I found my style. So as you could see, I tried pulling out the hidden tones of like the browns and the ochres from the bones and making them more pronounced. And this piece is also very loose. This is my next piece. It's a 14 by 11 oil on canvas. College Board loves when you play around with colors. So this, I made like hot colors in the front and cool colors in the back. I used a photo filter for it. This piece is an 11.5 by 9 micron pen on paper, drawing from Observation. This piece is titled Lost. It's approximately a 15 by 11 inch watercolor on paper. I tried to capture those feelings of like being lost in your thoughts, in your head somewhere. And I love this piece. I used to hate it. I love it now. It's one of my favorites because it shows my skills, and it shows like the skin. The skin looks like real skin because it's all textured. I didn't blend the watercolor. I just left it there and it's all textured. You see the different tones. I tried pulling out the hot and cool colors in the hair and in the face. This is also a self-portrait. My last piece, it's a 20 by 16 inch oil on canvas. This is also one of my favorite pieces. its title for now is Rich People Tea Party. I tried capturing all the little details in like the oranges and the dragon fruit, the macaroons, kiwi, and like all the little textures. And like this just, it's my favorite piece. This took me so long to do, and I really am so happy College Board loved it. Hi, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to post another video on like the sketchbook and other stuff I didn't mention in this one. I didn't want to make this video like an hour long. So you could stay and see it. I don't know when I'll post it, probably this week or not. Thank you so much for watching.